Yo, this is Steve Bloom, and you're watching Moana Nui Podcast. We'll be starting soon. Don't go anywhere.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for joining for tonight's episode. I know you're probably wondering, where's the other half? Unfortunately, Moana is under the weather tonight, so it will be me holding the reins tonight, but we're so very excited about today's content. But before we get started, for those that may or may not know me, I am the other half of the Moana Nui Podcast. I am Dana. I am a cosplay event and con staff photographer for cons such as MomoCon, Anime Week in Atlanta, Dragon Con, Ranger Stop, and more. I do a little voice acting, event planning, and a whole bunch of behind the scenes stuff for various cons and events. And for those that are new to the show, welcome. We're so glad to have you part of it because today is the very first day for a new series we're having on our show. We're very excited for it. This series will be on the very first Thursday of every month at 7 o'clock p.m. And the person that will be hosting this new series is a man that you should get to know. You should follow him. Let me tell you a little bit about him. And it's going to be a little bit because unfortunately, we cannot summarize everything that is great about this person in just less than 4 sentences. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. Hailing from Long Island, New York, Malachi Bailey has always been unabashedly a lover of books. His passion for superhero stories paved the way to online superhero role-playing where he developed his craft. He is currently the writer and creator of Her, a novel series and ongoing comic with Wingless Comics. And if you don't have it, please go to your local Amazon app or website. You can get the 2 volumes right on there for you to purchase. So, but with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand over to this segment of Malachi's Corner to this amazing person, Malachi Bailey. I'm going to go ahead and bring him to the front. Hello, Malachi.
Hey, Dana. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And I am going to go ahead and hand it over and let everybody who's in the audience, won't you be his neighbor?
So, first and foremost, I wanted to thank Dana and Moana for this opportunity. I've been friends with both of them now for a couple years. I've known Dana for about, I want to say, going on 4 years. We met at BlurCon face to face, but before that, we were actually, buddies online. So, thank you. This is a tremendous opportunity, to be able to host my own little show in my own little corner. So keep in mind, this is my first show. So, we're going to learn together, we'll grow together, and we will definitely make this memorable. So I may be playing with some things, different, formats, different, I guess, not so much topics, but, a different formula of sorts, as we continue and progress with the series. So what do you need to know about me? So Dana pretty much summarized and glorified a lot of, what I do, but, I like to think I'm a little modest, if that's even possible for being a Leo. But, she is right. I do hail from Long Island, New York, particularly Amityville. And yes, that is Amityville, from Amityville Horror. I don't remember ever going to, the infamous house, although my grandfather told me that we did. But yeah, that's where I come from. Um, so I've always been into literature. Hey Moana, I hope you feel better. um, I've always been into to reading and writing. I think language is something that is a beautiful thing. It helps us communicate, and the written word is probably one of the best ways of getting that across to everyone. And I actually knew that at an early age. So I was the type of kid that you would see, with a book always, in my lap, whether I was sitting on the stoop or if I was even at school in the recess, sitting to this corner with a comic book. That was always me. Um, Even at home, my grandfather would often laugh at the fact that, he would come home from work and I would be in the tree reading the comic book that he had recently purchased for me. So I've always been about that life. I'm a huge, huge nerd, but I go by the term, blurred, which is the black nerd. I am a huge Marvel fanatic, particularly all things X-Men. I could pretty much recite quotes, give you some issue numbers, as to which iconic comic book, pretty much spoke to me. I would like to think that a lot of y'all should know that I am a huge, keep on saying huge, but I am, a Storm fan to the extreme. If I did not have this character Storm, there would be no her, and I'll get into that later. So I think I was about, I don't know, maybe I want to say 9 years old. So when X-Men the animated series came out in 1992, I saw this woman who was black with these shoulder pads and this glorious hair. That's right, Moana. She had on those little boots, and I said, "That is so fucking hot. I love it." And I've been a fan ever since. So even like when they tried launching her series in 2014, it only ran for 11 issues. I collected it each month. She had her first miniseries, I want to say, what, in 1996. And I want to say Terry Dodson illustrated it because Storm had to fight Marrow in some alternate reality with Mikhail Rasputin being like the central villain. So wherever Storm is, that's where you're going to find me. So as I stated earlier, Storm was a huge part, in my desire to create stories. I wanted to do my own thing. I wanted to share my own, stories with people, and I was hoping they would like it. So I want to say in 2015, I started an internship as a, editorial assistant, and I was told that, not asked, I was told that I would need to write a short story, and that short story would be published in, a Valentine's Day anthology, book. I said, okay. I mean, it seems daunting, but I am high key excited. And then I was told the following week that I would have to, do an actual novel, and that was, daunting 100 times fold. And I was asked on the spot, what would my story be about? What would be the character? What was going to be the actual conflict? What is the story, Malachi? So on the spot, I was like, she is going to be a nameless woman. It could be rumored that she is possibly the first woman, Lucy, the first female skeleton that was found in the Great Rift Valley in 19 was it, I forgot what year it was, but it would be something to that effect. So she's immortal, and she's living these lives, possibly with a different face or a different skill set. But in the story that I was writing for the first novel, I needed to have the conflict, and that conflict was, who is she? So we start off with her pretty much almost drowning, somewhere off the coast of Australia, and she's rescued. And then she has a whole series of unfortunate events that leads into the second book that I released last year, Gods and Monsters. So by doing my first novel and then re-releasing it in 2019, I was asked by my fellow friend and future business partner, Brian Lambert, to join Wingless. So we could bring her from novel format to the actual comic book. So I do want to go more into about Wingless in a little bit. I'm just checking my notes because I did have to write this out. So it has been this roller coaster of amazing things that has happened. We're still planning new things, whether it's me as an individual or as a collective with Wingless. And I mean, we have no intention of slowing down. So speaking of Wingless Comics, we are releasing our Kickstarter on February 16th. It is going to wrap up the Nightfall, mini series that we used to kick off the Wingless universe, which we have coined the Wingverse. So we have the issues 4 and 5. We would love for you guys to spread the word, to pledge. We want to go out big with this particular finale. So that's going to be February 16th. You will see me post on Instagram. You will see me post on my personal page, if we're friends. And you will see me post, pretty much anywhere there's a media platform that I could shamelessly plug our work, I'm going to do it. So the 16th, I'll keep you guys posted. And what else did I want to tell you guys? What else? I told you about myself for the most part. Of course, at any time, if you have questions, just plug them in the chat. I'll be more than glad to answer them for you. I'm pretty much an open book, no pun intended. But yes, I'm actually wearing the cover of my second book, which is Malachi Bailey presents Her Gods and Monsters. And as you can see, I'm actually wearing a blue beanie. So for those who know me, I want to say for the last, maybe 2 months or so, I was doing a hashtag red beanie official, event. And I can't take credit for it because I was following a post that Head Nerds in Charge did in early November. And so when I finally caught on to it and I saw all these, Black celebrities, wearing a red beanie, I said, I'm gonna do that too. So I did. I had friends actually start purchasing red beanies. I'm actually a big fan of the look now because I'm not really a hat person, but I like how it looks. So recently, I was told that for the first show, for Malachi's Corner, I should get a beanie, but it should be blue. And so it was kind of hot. I like it, so we're going to keep it. So yes, I'm possibly rambling, but that's all right because it's my show. All right, so I do have a guest tonight who is a friend. Oh, hold on. Dana said, what's the link to be notified? Yeah, so we don't have the link as of yet, but I will provide that as soon as I get it. And then we could promote it like no one's business. So yeah. So I do have a guest tonight. The person that I have on is actually a good friend of mine. I've known him for a couple years, and he's actually a fellow creator as well. And I got a chance to actually hang out with him, I want to say, it was last summer for BlurCon 2021. And it was the first time BlurCon had actually, did an event, because for 2020, because, that year was a hot, disgusting, COVID-ridden mess, they canceled it. So it was a nice reunion to see everybody, people that I hadn't seen in, 2 years, if not longer. and John was one of them. So John is actually hey Brad, when will we see a her comic? Yes, so the her comic will be released this year. It'll be released, I want to say late spring, early summer. It's currently in production. I'm working with a phenomenal artist, Dina Agor. He is phenomenal when it comes to executing the vision. So I always look forward to when I have a message from him, because he has new artwork, and I live for new art. So I'll keep you posted, Brad. That is something that is very dear to my heart. I'm excited about it. We actually did a her number 0 that you can find at our Wingless website, which is Wingless, ENT for entertainment, .com. And if you click on the tab that says comics, scroll down to where it says her number 0, and you can download it for free. So yeah. So her number 1 this summer. And we're gonna, I'm super excited. Thank you, Moana. Yes. But yes, so John Romero, but I think he's going by Rome for writing's purposes. So sorry for blowing your spot, John. I have him as my guest.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Pretty good. Pulling up your questions for me. Hold on.
Yes. Okay. So for those who don't know, John is a creative force. He is a fellow writer, a storyteller, and he is in charge of Rising Eagle Comics. And recently, he released Kani, the Immortal Assassin, number 1, I believe, right?
Yes, number 1.
So, I have questions, John. I have questions.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, I like the new look, because I remember when we first, started, chatting. She had like the little, the purple like sash over her face, and she had Maria's afro. Okay, so we'll go into the questions. Who are you?
So yes, name is John, but for writing purposes, I do go by Rome. This is gonna be my pen name. You'll see it all over different issues. But I'm a writer. I've been writing most of my life, but it was a lot of poetry, short stories, things like that. And then after seeing the Black Panther entrance into Civil War, seeing, just something about his reception and everything really inspired me to get into comics, because I've always been a casual nerd, I guess you could say. Like, I love superheroes and movies and things, but I had never really invested into comics and things like that. So after that, I was inspired, and that was 2016. And first thing I did was I grabbed Greg, who won't be able to make it tonight, but that's my, partner in crime as far as Rising Eagle and everything. Just we became great friends. We started out as two people who had a shared interest in comics and nerd culture, and now that's my little brother, best friend, stuff like that.
These cool people.
And so since then I put out 4 issues, 3 for Sergeant Soul. And that was my flagship hero. That was the first, first thing I did was went out and bought a laptop, and I just started writing, and he was the first one that came out. And then Kani, which is the most recent release. Again,
where can we find it?
You can find it at risingeaglecomics.com. That's our website. It has links to our bookstore, has links to our merch store, all types of information of how to support us, things like that. So risingeaglecomics.com. You can find us Rising Eagle Comics on Facebook and Instagram as well.
Okay.
So yeah, Connie has actually she's become my baby over the years. Like Sergeant Soul will always be my first, like what really got me into it. But the potential that Connie has, the stories that I can tell with her are going to be a lot of fun, are going to really allow me to get creative. And I've got 4 or 5 more issues already written out for her. And as you mentioned, when we first started out, she's gone through quite a few different looks, artist changes, things like that. You know how it goes.
I do.
And I was able to find an artist by the name of Cassandra M. Let me get you her Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
She's an amazing artist. She goes by the art Wani, Wani on Instagram.
Okay.
Like I said, amazing works. She lives in Nigeria. So been an interesting relationship, time differences and language barriers and things like that. But we've clicked since day one. The ideas and colors and everything she presents, she's so professional. So if anyone's ever looked for artists, I always recommend her. So yeah, we put this together, and it was actually done in I want to say the end of 2020.
Okay.
But there was so much going on. We were like, let's just sit on it. Her Instagram is the art WANI. Yeah, so we sat on it for a while, and then we're like, let's make 2022 a big year for us. We're going to release quite a few different projects. So I started off, and again, this is a project I've been working on for 5 years. She is, as far as who she is, she's inspired by a lot of the different women in my life, from my mom to my friends to athletes like Serena Williams. She's just an embodiment of what I think the Black woman can be.
Yeah.
She's extremely powerful. She's rich. She's beautiful, but she's not confined to any of that because, she's over 20 years old and she can do whatever the hell she wants. So as she's not one to take any shit. She's not one to take any, like if you step to her, you better make sure you're stepping correct because she's going to have something to say back. And so we released this, and the first issue we want to leave on a cliffhanger just to get people's attention, make sure that it was a good intro, but there's so much more to come from her. And now you asked in the email, what's next for us?
Well, I do have a few comments I wanted to address. So, I read the issue, I loved it. I love the colors, especially like when we do the opening scene where, well, I'm not going to spoil it, but I love the choice of colors. I like the language, especially when, we're in the modern day. I thought it was pretty cool. I love the fact that even though she is, immortal, I love the fact that she's grounded and is still relatable.
Yeah.
That's something that I think that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to, creating characters for their projects. I remember when I was writing my first book back in 2015, and I remember dialogue was the hardest for me. Now, people would imagine that, okay, it should be easy because, you talk every day, but this character is not you. This character is nothing else. This character is meant to be a wholly new individual. And, and they tell you to, you got to one of the exercises was go to a cafe with your notepad and sit there and listen to people talk for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually helps. So I don't know if you did that.
Dialogue is actually just one of my strong points. Me, Greg, and Shakes, we joke about it a lot because it comes natural to me. Like it's really easy for me to speak from a lot of different perspectives and still do it in a way that it seems real and it seems, plausible. And it's not, it doesn't come across as corny or forced or anything like that. And that's something I pride myself on. I've just always been able to see things from a lot of different perspectives. Mm-hmm. And so I was glad that it translated into comics so easily because I have so many different characters that, I'm glad that my voice is different in each one. And it doesn't seem like how some actors, they're in different movies, but it's always the same role. It's always the same.
Who comes to mind? Jennifer Lawrence.
The Rock, he's always The Rock in every movie. Yeah. And I'm glad that in my comic books, I'm able to really portray different voices and, make it seem natural. So I had a lot of fun writing this.
I could tell.
All the way as far as the colors, that was all Cassandra, actually. She, the way she, so she did the lines, how that goes. And then she hit me up. She's like, all right, what do you want to do about colors? And how vibrant do you want to go? And I'm like, I gave her a lot of control. I'm like, you tell me what you think would go best with what we've created so far. And she sent me that, and it was a hit from the beginning. And the opening couple of pages.
Yes.
I was blown away when she sent me those. I was in the group chat, it's ecstatic as hell. Yo, this is amazing. I know this is going to be a hit. So, definitely one of my favorites so far, as far as what I produce and what I've been able to come out with. And we've already started talking about issue number 2 and how we're going to go with that and step it up more.
So, okay, so you said you're going to do number 2,
mm-hmm.
and you said you have 5 issues, planned out. Do you plan on having a crossover between Kani and Sergeant Soul?
Yeah. So Rising Eagle Comics we're going big with it. We're trying to create,
as you should,
an entire universe similar to Marvel and DC where everything is interconnected and everything is happening at the same time, just different places. We have a few crisis events already lined out a little bit. My character, Greg's character, there he is. So yeah, we got Kani and Sergeant Soul, and their relationship is going to be so interesting because it's going to be nothing like you would expect. She, not to spoil anything, but Kani is close to top dog as far as characters that we've thought about so far. With her power set and what she brings to the table, she's really, it's hard to top her. And even if you do top her, she's smart enough to find a way to, to flip it around. So, Sergeant Soul and Kani will have interactions, and it's going to be amazing to see.
Now, with Sergeant Soul, because I pretty much, just threw it at you. Now, can you give us a little, insight as to who this character is? I know he was your first child, but, who is he?
Sergeant Soul is he's my way of saying that the hood would need a hero, but not in the way that a lot of other companies and stuff are presenting them. In order to protect the hood, the city, people like us, you have to still be in and of it. You can't be living somewhere else. And we got to wait on that one.
I was kind of low key thinking that, John, we have to talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about this
or something.
We'll have to set that up, death battle or something. but yeah, Sergeant Soul is someone who, he's still going to be in the surroundings as he, fixes them, and he's not going to do it in the typical way of, he's not going to be on like Batman where he's breaking the guy's arm for.
I'll talk.
So, like, no, he's relatable. He's the person that you would want looking out for everyone and also keeping them safe from the people who, want to come around and do other stuff. So he's a reluctant hero because it was never what he wanted to be. Like, he really, he had other aspirations, but when put in this position, he's going to rise to the top, and those around him are going to hold him responsible for those powers. They're not just going to, they're not yes men. They're not just going to be in his corner all the time. They're going to call him out like, hey, you did this wrong. You shouldn't have done this, or you should have, and then he holds his responsibility to the people. He wants to make sure that it's safe for the kids to play outside. But he understands that the hood is underfunded and underpowered. So people got to make their living the way they do. But as long as, there's a gray area that he has to really manage, that I think a lot of artists, a lot of writers can't really speak to because they've never really lived in it. But again, as someone who can see many perspectives, who's been in many different perspectives, I think that's one of the things that makes Sergeant Soul stand out.
Now with Sergeant Soul, so we have Sergeant Soul and we have kind of the immortal assassin. I guess it'll be okay to assume they are the top, characters for Rising Eagles, right?
Yeah, we got 2 more coming out this year. Greg has Showtime, who is
Yes.
It's a manga style issue, manga theme all the way through, and it's going to be like he was showing the pages the other day in our little group chat. Incredible, had me like stopping my tracks, and the stories he's going to tell with that are going to be really mind blowing as well. I can't either. I don't want to spoil too much because I'm not sure how much he wants to give away, but Showtime is amazing. And then we have Legacy Blaze from Shakes. He's the youngest of our big 4. We have a big 4 heroes right now. He's the youngest of them, and what makes his universe what makes his part of the universe so unique is the style of powers he went with.
Okay.
Like everyone, it's something that I hadn't really seen in a lot of mainstream comic books. So I think it's going to be really refreshing. Huh?
Is it a secret?
Like I said, I don't want to. I know how hard they've been working, so I don't want to spoil too much. But yeah, he has some amazing artwork coming. His story is amazing. We've shared a few of his things on the page. So if you scroll down Rising Eagle Comics on Facebook, you'll see different pages and scans from him. And so those are the next 2, and those are round out, like I said, the big 4, the main, they're the ones who a lot of the universe kind of rotates around.
Okay.
And we've got it planned out. Like I said, we got crisis events planned, which are supposed to be like 10, 15 years in the future. So we've really done a lot to build a universe that we can be proud of. And to really, like Greg is really big on connecting everything behind the scenes, like and weaving and everything. And he's been key on that, on making sure that things are really connected, from Sergeant Soul to Kani to Showtime to Legacy. Like all of those have some type of connection, even if you don't see them up front. And then Shakes has been really good on, like, he questions a lot. Like he'll come in with, it might be a simple question, but it gets conversation going and it gets us thinking about checks and balances and making sure that the heroes we create aren't too OP. Like, we don't want someone broken to the point where, they're always going to win. Like Sergeant Soul loses, Showtime loses, Kani loses. We want to show that it's okay for our heroes to take L's and not in he loses for 5 minutes and then comes back. No, like they lose, like they have losses that actually matter for the entire universe.
So they're not like One Punch Man.
Nah. They have some. There are dire consequences for a lot of their actions, and we're going to make sure that's seen to the reader from issue 1, really.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of steer it away from Rising Eagle for just a second. So, what are some of your own like personal goals, or aspirations being a blurred and a storyteller?
Honestly, I want to get into directing of some sort. I have a lot of different visions, and I can see a lot of things, in a real 3D type model on a day-to-day basis. And I would love to be able to put those ideas into, shows or movies, like to direct a full-on comic book movie would probably be like my ultimate goal, whether it's my character or, someone else. To be able to direct the movie would be my ultimate dream, probably.
As they would say, amaze balls. So where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook at John Romario, JON and ROMIREO. And then and that's really the main one I use. Like I use Instagram once every other year. Let's see what inspired the creation. Sergeant Soul was inspired by he was me. He was me putting myself into a comic book character. I had just had a son the year before. And then the Black Panther moment happened in Civil War. And like all of that really gave me the urge to create something that my son can look up to, but also something that allows me to further express myself. And then from there, Kani was inspired by, like I said, all of the women that I come across in meaningful interactions. So friends, family, exes, athletes. Like she has so much of a lot of different people mixed in her. And I wanted to create, and this was kind of selfish, but I wanted to create a story of a female character and not have it feel so, I don't know how to say it, but so many men struggle writing women in a way that isn't, sexist or doesn't do it justice. So I wanted to do it in a way where, she wasn't subjected to that. And so far, I think I'm doing all right. I'm always, like, whenever I write Kani, especially, I always send it to some of the women in my life. Like, hey, does this sound like is this okay? Am I, breaking any unknown rules or anything like that? And they've been really helpful, and they've called me out because there were a few different parts of it. They were like, nah, like that's not it. So I'm like, thank you. That's what I'm sending it to you for.
I'm glad. We need to have those type of individuals, in our lives, not just creatively speaking, but, generally speaking, we need to be held accountable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would shout out to Erica Hardison.
Erica.
From day one, because her cousin, me and her cousin Calvin are best friends since high school. That's so when I started, he was one of the ones that I talked to about it, and he put me into it with her because she's already connected. She knows a lot. She'd be good. And from day one, she's been really good about being helpful, but not hindering me or not, coddling me in any ways. She calls me out on things when I'm wrong, things like that. So she's been a big help, and she was one of the ones who, I asked a lot of questions of when I was writing, like, hey, is this cool? You think I should stay away from this? So I definitely want to shout out her. She's been in my corner since day one, really.
I hope she's watching. I haven't spoken to her in a couple of days. She had commented on one of my posts. I don't know if it was because of the new avatars that are on Facebook.
Those things are a mess.
You know, so yesterday, you know, when I was playing around with mine, you know, the default avatar is different from the default previous one. So it made my face a lot fuller. And so I didn't see the big deal. It was kind of like, okay, you know, it's what it is. But then the nose is really bothering me. I was like, that nose is too thin. You know, it doesn't look right on my black face. So I played around with it. And then yesterday, you know, one of my friends, you know, he commented, he was like, so your emoji, he's like, it looks like Little Kim, you know, stunt double, you know, but a little too dark. I'm like, wait, what? It's like, and what if my face was actually that chubby? Is that a problem?
I haven't even made an avatar, but I saw everyone else's, and I'm like, nah, I'm not even going. I'm not even taking time.
Well, we could discuss that later. But Dana, she commented on my wall earlier today, and she showed me her avatar. I thought it was cute, but you know, it reminded me of the commercials where, you know, they're trying to like sell like some, you know, female hygiene products, and then you know they're walking around and the camera's following them, and she turns, she's like, yeah, you know, it's like I got that kind of vibe because she had a little hat on, but that's not a bad thing. You know, those things are very necessary, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So, John, I want to thank you for being the first official guest on Malachi's Corner. You know, I always enjoy, you know, chatting with you. I enjoy harassing you. That will never change. And hopefully, you know, I'll get to see you at BlurCon this year.
We're aiming to have a table. I've been emailing them as often as I can, like, hey, because last year or the year before, we ended up missing out on the deadline for the vendor tables. So this year I've been like, I don't check my email often, but ever since then I have been checking it nonstop. Like, hey, I need to make sure we have a table because we're ready. We finally feel like we're at a point where we have enough content, we have enough material. Now it's time for us to start putting it out there for as many people to see. And we're really at that stage where we're just push. We're trying to get our comics in as many hands as possible. As you see, I have it on hand at all times. I keep some in the car, in the book bag. So we will definitely be at BlurCon. Even if we don't have a table, we go set up outside the hotel and people are going to see us.
Now, will you be in cosplay this year too?
Yes, I'm working on 2 cosplays. Okay. I got 2 ideas, one anime, one comic book, and I can't spoil them yet.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna spoil it. I was talking to Ro, you know, one of my good friends, and you know, he is very much, you know,
he's probably had some of the most consistent good cosplay. Yeah.
You know, I love
him and Dana are amazing at the cosplay.
But he wants me to do cosplay this year, and I've never done it. You know, we can't count Halloween because that doesn't count. You know, but you know, I think I'm gonna do it this year.
I said go for it. It was last year at BlurCon was, you know, and like that was a makeshift costume. Like I put that together at BlurCon that day.
See, I had no idea.
But I had so much fun finally getting to it. So I recommend go for it. Especially if you like get a mask and stuff, you really get to just not be yourself for a day, and it's so.
But you know how hot it is.
That's true. That's true.
I remember Ro had on the what was it? The Afro Samurai cosplay with the teddy bear.
Yeah. Oh, I know he was hot.
And you know, and it was hard to see, so I was pretty much his guide, and it was nighttime. And we were trying to go to, you know, where the food vendors are.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a journey.
So it was an adventure. I'm bracing myself for it, but you know, I always loved seeing him dressed up. Dana Holmes, who was one of my other dear friends. Good old MC Brooks, with his cosplay. So how can I not do it at least once?
It's time. Go for it.
It's time. But thank you, John. I appreciate you being on the show, sir.
Thank you all for having me. It was a great fun. I wish you both a lot of success on your segment and the podcast going forward. I have already subscribed. I plugged it to all my friends, so we will be watching.
And I so appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
No problem. Y'all have a good night.
You too, John.
All right. Well, Malachi, great first, Malachi corner. Of course, I was telling Malachi that as y'all saw in the marketing picture, he had posted that, and which helped me come up with the name of this segment, because I was like, it looked like Mr. Rogers opening the door, like, hey, Malachi's corner. Let's put the cardigan on and let's take off our shoes. All right, here's the comic for today. So I was like, I don't know. I said, that's what came to me. And we presented, I went ahead and presented to Malachi the idea. He was on board. And we love this because it's allowing all of you in the audience to learn and connect to more indie comics and projects that are out there. A lot of times you'll hear us on the show talk about Kickstarters that are out there, but you don't know too much that's going on. This will allow you to, like Malachi actually has read these issues, have been involved with them, and therefore he's going to talk about it. As you saw, he also he brought in, the person behind Kani, and you will see probably more of that coming up in the future. So thank you, Malachi, for your time. Thank you for telling not only about and as y'all saw posted earlier, go to Amazon.com, search for Malachi Bailey, her. You're going to see both issues there. If you're like me and you want your copy autographed, follow Malachi's on social media so you can find out what cons he's going to be at, so you can go to his booth and be able to purchase a copy autographed by him.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Dana, because I do want to plug my IG, username. So for those who are interested, it's Mal, that's MAL _the_ writer. And I post there pretty much every day. I've been plugging the wingless stuff because we're excited about the upcoming Kickstarter. But also there were 2 Kickstarters that are actually going on right now that I wanted to just address. My buddy Morgan Everson, he released Lumberjacks, so I guess number 3, Destiny by Any Means. So yeah, make sure you guys pledge to that, or at least spread the word. And Tony Cottrell, he released his Kickstarter the other day, which is Cosmos, which is a part of a maxi series, pretty epic, and it is number 6. So you guys definitely want to thanks Moana / Dana. So you guys definitely want to check out those Kickstarters. Spread the love. These are friends of mine. These are peers and colleagues that I respect very highly, and I want them to get your money. So give them the coins, and you can read the books.
Exactly. And just giving 2 other Kickstarters that I wanted to also mention, as far as indie projects. Definitely give us support. You'll hear about them even more next week. HBC Yukon is having a Kickstarter right now. They're raising funds for their official first in person. They've done virtual over the past couple of years, but now they're going in person. So we want to give them their support for this con. They got their Kickstarter going on right now. That's the link right there. Give the support to support this con, because a lot of you talk about that you want a Black-centered con. We're starting. We have a few strong ones. Here's going to be another one that you have the option that will be late spring, early summer. So that way you are going end of April, early May to go there. So you're getting that first kick of, the cons before you go into what I call into the deep. Once after Memorial Day weekend, it's like bam, 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 bam on cons. And one other Kickstarter we have from another friend of the Moana Nui Podcast. He has his Kickstarter called Another Reason to Smile. It's a little mini series. He has a couple books out, but this is going to be a new mini series based on one of the other characters in the book. Definitely give some support for a children's book that you can give support to. So that's the link also right there. So once again, all of these wonderful projects that Malachi's mentioned, along with I'm mentioning, definitely support them, especially if it's dear to your heart, you relate to the storylines. Definitely give it support, because as we always want, we want the representation and stuff in these comics and see ourselves in these comics. You have to support the projects that have it. Before we get ready to end, Malachi, you have any closing words?
Yes, the outro, that's a working name. Just to piggyback on what you said, Dana, representation, it does fucking matter. It's just that simple. There's no way that you can dress it up. There's no way you can really argue against it. It matters. These Kickstarters matter. These stories matter. These characters matter. So do your part and pledge the fucking money.
Mm-hmm. Whether it's $5, whether you pledging $100, whatever's in your budget, and then if you don't have it in your budget, share it with the people you know that will connect with those projects, and that way they can pledge to it and make these projects successful.
Please and thank you.
Yes, definitely. Well, once again, Malachi, thank you for joining us. Everyone, please join us again for Malachi's Corner on the first Thursday of every month at 7:00 p.m. Eastern. Look forward to us marketing the next episode for the month of March, with Malachi will pick his March favorite indie projects that he will come on and talk about, and you'll learn a little bit more for us. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We have another great episode at 8:30 p.m. tonight. We are having our Moana After Dark series. We're going to be have several people coming on that's going to be talking about Encanto, the Disney hit movie. And of course, with it being Black History Month and the movie having that Afro-Latina representation, we have 4 people within the community coming on to talk about this amazing movie. And we're just going to have a great little conversation starting at 8:30 p.m. tonight. So go ahead, grab your drinks or your snacks. Go ahead and listen to a little soundtrack from Encanto right before you join us at 8:30. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you at 8:30 p.m. tonight. Y'all have a great one, and we'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf, if they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves a republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand,
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii in a perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course, cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place, multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe. As a part of their ongoing war with Asia, used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation, colonizers call for annexation. No work out for all the locals, school will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can keep history on the shelf, if we won't tell it we will. We will.
I'm Steve Bloom. I've been a voice actor for more than 30 years, playing characters like Wolverine, Starscream, Tank Dempsey from Call of Duty.
With Bloomfox Studios, I've learned so much about myself.
Learning to breathe, to no fear, to getting ugly in front of the mic.
One of the biggest changes I've noticed, at least for me, is how much my confidence level has gone up.
I've done an Eastern European video game, an e-commerce commercial, a documentary. If you're thinking about getting into voiceover, just do it. Jump in.